Okay, now the next thing I think we should cover is what's called the break riff, because we haven't looked at that yet. And this is one of the integral parts, like the vocal, for tying these two sections of the song together. And I'll show you exactly what I mean. So let's have a listen to it first. In the break, we've got our piano chords. And we've got our break riff. Let's turn the effects off to make it easier. So you can see I've got this aux channel here is a ping pong delay, but we'll turn that off for the time being. So that's how it sounds with no effects on it. Hear the difference? And by using the same global effects in terms of reverbs, I'm saving a lot of processor power on my computer, but far more important than that is that all of the sounds are now occupying the same mixing space. And if you've taken the ultimate EDM mixing course, you'll know we go into that in depth and how important it is. But yeah, that is a good tip for mixing. Just using 2, 3 or 4 even, if you really need, but I generally use 2 global reverbs that everything can be dialed into. So all I did for the riff is, again, write it in exactly the same key, which is B flat minor. And again, like the bass line at the beginning, you can just tap in the rhythm all on one note if you want. Write in all of the notes of that key, move them to the side, press fold, and then just move them up and down until you've got something you like. Obviously, if you've got any piano skills or keyboard skills whatsoever, it can be nice just to kind of feel the vibe. And quite often I'll actually sing or just hum, badly, I might add, because I'm not the greatest pianist in the world. So I find it easier just to hum or sing a melody that speaks to me, that kind of moves me, and then work out the MIDI notes afterwards. But you'll notice that it also follows the riff of the piano to a large degree, just to reinforce that rhythm that we have for the whole track. And the 2 different elements of this break riff are this Eastern 5th sound, which is in this cool little synth that came with Ableton 10. What's it called? In fact, it is called the wavetable synth. And that works in a similar way in many ways to Serum, which I also have, but I've just used the Ableton stock plugins wherever possible to make it easier for you guys. But the second one is Silent, which is another great synth. I mean, this and Serum, if you're going to buy a third-party synth, one of those two, you can't go wrong. And here, what I would have done is just scrolled through some presets and played a bit with the controls. These might even just be the default controls that were in this preset. Until I found something I liked that complemented and if you add, you can see I've grouped them together. So by adding reverb, it's adding it to the whole, well, to both elements and the delay. Make sure it works in mono. And I'll show you now how this ties into the post drop as well. So that's the break. And because it's the same key, I can just copy and paste that into this section of the track and it's still going to work because it's all, even though the bass line is different, it's still on the same root note and the riffs work well together. And that's why having just a rudimentary understanding of music theory can be so helpful when producing electronic dance music. And a similar effect that I did with the vocal, this is just to lead in to the riff. And again in the break. And it's little touches like that that give it a pro quality sheen. Just this attention to detail, so that elements aren't coming in too abruptly. You're leading the listener to expect it. And this is dance music, so you don't really want to catch people by surprise too much. And if you do, you want it to be within a certain framework so they don't just kind of lose their rhythm and go, what the hell just happened? And these little reverse reverbs to lead into an element is a great way to kind of introduce them, as well as simple volume fades or filter cutoff sweeps as well. There are other really good ways to just kind of introduce elements subtly, I guess would be the word.